Week 4, day 1. Is Lynn a happy camper? She's got a CR. Yes, she does. She has, even the sink is in.
Oh,
and
put this one here because he was planning it yesterday.
Yeah, he decided to go a little higher.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a quick walk around before anybody else gets started, and let's rock with week 4. If you're just joining us, we have installed a distribution pit here for electrical and water. We'll put a water head on the outside there, not along the sidewalk where Filipinos bump into everything. Sorry, Filipinos, you just do. Okay, the trenches are almost all done. The major ones are done. And so my hope is that they will plant this one first or that one. Because with this one in place, we can get the electrical and plumbing started down this way. And I want that through before they put the hollow blocks up. Now the deal that we've cut with the guy with the hollow blocks is we have given him the formula and we're paying a little bit more for the blocks. But I want closer, hopefully. Otherwise I'm going to reduce the rate on him, and he knows that. So they better be more solid than some of the stuff we usually get. Now this supplier generally is quite good. So I'm going to make sure that he starts our stuff well in advance and then has it stored on his property, drying, before we take it. Not that it seems to make much difference. Now this is from another supplier, and oh, this one's nice and hard today. Yep, this one's hard. But it is amazing how many you can just take, like this one here, and a minor, and it just falls apart. It's just terrible stuff, guys. I do not think they have any cement in it at all. None. I think they're just doing a pack method, which is a slurry with Yanapogue, and then relying on the concrete on the outside. Oh, Michael's brought 2 sets of slippers, because thou shalt not go in without removing slippers. So we will probably have a few hundred slippers outside like everybody else does. The bunkhouse is ready to go. Lynn wants a clothesline, so we're just going to have a temporary one going from this pole. Yeah, we could do an angle across. Sure, that'll be fine. Yeah. So Lynn and I are going to go down and we're going to get some nylon and we're going to get the insulation. Our decision on the ceiling here is not to move in until this ceiling has an insulation barrier. And the reason is, guys, we've been warned about the sandflies being attracted to light. So with us putting this flexible roll insulation in, we can curve it down on the corners, and that way all of this will have a little bit of a protection barrier from the heat, a little bit, you know, heat rises, who cares? Air conditioning sits down below, but we can cup it all the way around, and that will keep the sandflies out a lot more. Mary Lou and Uli, thank you. They went through the whole process of finding out who was good and who was bad, and all we got was good. And last year we laid a couple of guys off that were a part of this crew for about 3 days to send a message: work or get out of the way. And it wasn't us that really did that. These were helpers to the Massoons, which are the lead carpenters, and they lost their helpers. So that didn't take long to settle that. Keep busy. There's lots of talk going on, but I don't see any work. Actually, they've already stretched up one piece. The water's turned off. Everybody's worried that the water's not working.
Okay, very nice.
No more leaking?
No.
Close animal doon, basta sa limang. Ay na, sige pa, i-close kay karamo kuan.
Baka drain siya lang ko.
Okay, so these guys are using an extra thick, we would call it fishing line. It's just nylon, yeah. And so this is what they're going to do. Down on this end, they'll just cup it around. On this end, they'll cut a piece and use contact cement and then glue it all together. Sometimes when you get these ingenious ladders, all they do is get in the way.
Sabud.
Sabud?
Sabud. Okay.
We don't know what that means, but we'll just get out of the way. Okay, out we go. Okay, we had a brief conversation with the crew about putting in the pillars and the tie beams. Now, as much as it takes forever for the water to go through, if you don't put that round rock, if you can see it through all that cocoa, there's round rock, no sand in it at all. Lay it in the bottom, put these grills on the bottom after the gravel is in there, and then you can pour your pillar or your foundation piece, right? The concrete will go down underneath that, and therefore no water will get onto your rebar. Even Rosindo here was saying that in his house, he had the rebar sitting on anapogue, and it blew one of the pillars out. So I said maybe a decade or two, but he says, no, much shorter. We don't have a winter here. So that means that water's always present and always ready to go to work. Reclaim the planet, as it were. Okay, so the guys are still at it. They've got their tarps up and they get this finished. We're actually calling this a house already. The house, aka the garage, is ready for occupancy maybe tomorrow. We've got some concrete sealer that we want to lay down. We have no idea what the smell is. And we also have a sort of a rubber tarp that we will lay down on the floor, make it easier for sweeping out and all of that type of thing, because again, ultimately it's a garage. When we get to that point of turning it into a guest house, family, friends, whomever, then the driveway I mentioned before is going to have a little bit of an S-turn here, subtle. And where that anapogue is there in the end of the driveway, although part of that driveway needs to be cut off, guys, because we just kind of feathered it up into the grass. So that's got to be cut off. And then I will drive down the driveway, pull towards the neighbor's concrete fence, and then back into the garage. In the future, however, when that is a guest house, maybe we're living here more, then we will just have a simple carport here to have shelter for the car. But when we're here, right? So at that point, then that garage will be tiled and all of that type of thing. We went to City Hardware. We've been there numerous times now, guys. And the polished concrete, I think that's a little too slippery. But we're going to give it a little bit more time. We've got more time, obviously, before we need to make decisions on tiles. The CRs, we have an ensuite and a CR going into our home, his and her bathroom, and we will be recessing the concrete down so that we can then tile it and it will be below the rest of the house. Until we can start backfilling, which means that all of the the pillars will have to be installed. The tie beams will have to all be installed, and then they have to do the hollow block below. And now I'm leaning more and more and more towards having all of the pillars tied on the top side, so at the roof level. And so we will have a discussion when we get closer to that point. The interesting part is how much we've come up in the land. I'm curious as to how high these pillars are going to sit relative to where we would like the house, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to call that a wrap for today. What do you think, Lynn? Even though our day isn't finished, It's time for this old carcass maybe to actually get some work done today instead of just being a chauffeur and drive around my money girl. Remember guys, don't go in and try and buy this stuff yourself. The prices go up. If I go in and buy stuff, the prices go up.
Yeah.
Until you establish yourself at a place, especially the little local ones, once you're established there, get your wife to call over, get a price on it, show up, pick it up, and then they won't up the price on you.
Be careful of the price discrimination.
Oh, there's lots of price discrimination in the Philippines, guys. Lots. You have to be aware of it. And I will say this, only through a conversation with my mom. She said in France, they do the same thing. All they see is tourists. They don't see people living local. Anyway, there we go, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe. Later, Gators.